afternoon and welcome to Real Talk with Sean, everybody. This afternoon, I had the pleasure of speaking with Miss Camille, who lives with scleroderma. Bet that's something you all never heard of. Thank you for joining me today, Camille. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. Before I even go into my first question, I have to let you know how strong I think you are to go through what you go through, to have gone what you've gone through, and still can sit right here before me with a smile. And of course, I know that's not to say you don't have bad days. We all do. But I look at you online and you're always promoting peace and positivity. And I love that.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Were you born with scleroderma?
No, I discovered that it was attacking me. Actually, when I started trying to get really healthy, I had been on a diet since I was like 16 years old. I was in college. I was like, no, I'm getting this weight off once and for all. I was losing weight. And what I didn't know is that for some people, everybody cannot do hard cardio and
Right.
all that. Some people need to do like easier exercises and stuff. But anyway, that brought on. I had grown up with asthma. You could say technically say I was born with asthma, but this was a different kind of situation with my lungs. And I started feeling like I couldn't breathe all the way in, like I couldn't take a deep breath. And I was like, what is going on? I was about 19 years old. And I was like, what is going on? And or no, I was like 21. I was 21.
Okay.
So, just starting out in college, having all the fun.
Right.
And that was the first indicator. Like I started working out really heavy with a trainer. I lost like 40 pounds and my body went haywire. I was like, what? I'm the healthiest. I look the best I ever done looked.
Right.
I'm feeling myself at the height, like about to graduate college the very next year. It just was a lot. And all of that happened while my mother was battling lupus and I'm taking care of her.
Wow.
So it was a crazy time. I was under so much stress. It was a lot.
I can only imagine stress because prior to 21, you lived what we would consider a normal life, disease-free, disability-free life, besides the fact of having asthma. So when you started to, because you said it started to affect your lungs, did it feel different than what asthma would feel? Like, was there cause to be checked out, or you kind of just, it's just my asthma bothering you?
I knew that it was something different because when I would take Tylenol, it would feel better.
Okay.
And whenever I would overexert, that's when I would feel it. And like with asthma, I only would get asthma symptoms if I got a cold or if I ran. And I was not running. I was not. Like I'm this small now, but I was a chunky baby and I was a big girl, 220 and up my whole life, like as an adult. And since I was like, I probably hit like 230, honestly, in the 10th grade.
Okay.
I was a size 18, 20. So I was a big girl. I was comfortable in the big girlness. I'm not comfortable now as a thin person, even though I've been this thin since I had my first child almost 10 years ago. It still feels odd to be this thin.
Right.
So I was used to that. And it just was an odd transition to go from being healthy, only needing to lose weight, to having like a bunch of health issues because scleroderma can affect any part of your body. An autoimmune disease can affect any organ.
Okay. So
I've been blessed that it hasn't affected everything, but if you research, it can affect a lot of stuff. It's affected my hands. I've lost so much mobility, and even while I'm so blessed that while my children were babies, that my hands weren't as affected as they are now. This is like the worst it's been as far as my hands. And I was like, if they were infants, I don't know if I would be able to take care of every single little thing like I was able to without pain, without struggle, and it taking longer. But one thing about me, I'm gonna figure it out.
I know.
Like
Right.
with my hands, I have created ottomans. I reupholstered a bench. Like the things that I did, I started painting. Like I've done the things that I didn't think that I could do. And it's like I'm just proving it to myself at this point.
Exactly. And I love that though. I actually love that because you still have a lot to live for. Although you go,
Yeah.
going through some physical, and those physical things can of course affect us mentally as well. You still push through. And as you said, you're finding out on a constant basis that you still can. And so that's good. It may be a little harder or a lot harder. I can't say a little because I'm not going through it, but it may be harder than previously before scleroderma, but you're doing it. So
Thank you.
that's what's up. Absolutely, that's what's up. So I just heard you say, so it is an autoimmune disease. So
Yes, like it's in the family with lupus, rheumatoid arthritis. I can't think of nothing else.
yeah, because those two things that you just spoke of can also affect any part of the body. So
Yes.
wow, and it's just something I never heard of. What do you know? What makes scleroderma different than lupus or arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, or any of the other disabilities or diseases that can affect any part of the body?
Sclera. So if you look it up, it affects your skin. I think that's the medical term for sclera, and it mainly affects your skin and your tissues. Like it can make your skin get really tight and hard. Like if you look at old pictures of me, which I used to not post because I post a picture and people be like, "Oh, is that you?" When in the caption I say, "Old picture of me, flashback." Oh, that's not you. And it's like so annoying.
I
Like
get it. I get it.
so I didn't post pictures of me for years. I didn't take pictures. Like y'all seeing me on the internet is the acts of God. One of my best friends was like, "You need to tell your story," and
Yep.
I was like, "Yeah, girl, okay." And I was like, "No, no, no, no." And I feel so free now because I'm not hiding. And it's like, well, they're going to say that I'm ugly. They're going to say that I'm different, and I don't care.
There
It
you
doesn't
go.
matter because I don't think that I'm ugly. I know that I am beautiful. I know that I look very different than what I used to think as beautiful. And it has helped me to just expand what my outlook of beauty is.
Ooh,
So
that,
though I would not want to wish this on anybody, it's like the growth that I've experienced. I know, listen, I'm not one of those that be like, this was for me, God did this to me. I don't believe that. I believe that the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. But God will never leave us, and He will always bless us better than the enemy can try to tear away from us.
I love
And
it.
had I not gone through this stuff, I wouldn't be the person that I am and have the compassion and the heart that I have. And that is a benefit to everybody around me and myself
I
because I don't hurt in the ways that I could hurt, in the ways that I see other people hurting that have gone through something like this. I am human. Do I have my moments like, why did this have to happen? Of course, but they are very few and far in between at this point in my life. And it's like, okay, God, I see you working. I see you rescuing me from this. I see you healing, and healing is different in a lot of ways. And though I believe in the physical healing, the healing of my mind and my heart is unmatched and it's irreplaceable. So I
I
said a lot. I'm
no,
saying a
you
lot.
did not. No, you did not. You said a lot. You're right. You did say a lot of good stuff. Because that is why I reached out to you because it sums it all up. Because as you said, you're not faking like you don't have bad days. We're human. You could just not have scleroderma and go through bad days, but you feel you're taking, which is not your fault, what you caught. So people can say, get offline, this, talk about how you look, but I'm so much more than scleroderma, and you're so much more than the physical being. Your
Yeah.
insides are nice, pure, God-fearing, kind. And to me, those things matter most.
Yeah.
And I have to, whoever that friend was, to you, because she or he was right. You need to live in front and be
Yes.
seen and be heard. And as they did state, you have a story that matters. So, I mean, you could clearly have given up and
Yes.
started to display negative behavior to other people because of what you're going through. But you don't, you spread peace and love in this world.
And I
So
was hiding. I was.
I
I
believe
was living in my little cocoon.
that.
I'm good. This was when I was married. I had just had my daughter. I was like so sad
I
because
believe
like, why? Why did this? Like I was in that pity party and I was upset. I was mad at God.
who
I was
wouldn't be?
heartbroken.
Who wouldn't be?
Like, Lord, I'm
Anybody that
living my life for you.
exactly.
What is, and it's like, it's not that. You're living your life for me. Of course, the enemy is going to try to take you out. Like, you are prime real estate. I want to kill you. I want to ruin your
Right.
destiny.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. that
Not
that didn't make me feel better for a lot of years though. I
of
had to
course.
work through that. I had to work through that.
And but you're human. And so the first you weren't born with with this disease. So of course you're going
No.
to go through a period that person physically that you were. Now that you have to live with the body that now you have come to because of the disease doing what it's going to do, and none of it is your fault. But you're here, and you've learned to love yourself through it all, and no more a lot of life to live and a lot of love and joy to spread in this world. How, besides your hands, because I know you did say that it affects your hands. That's one of the things that you mentioned. It affected your appearance because I've seen pictures of you prior to having scleroderma. So how else does it affect you on a daily? What are some of the things that you go through?
On a good day, I'm chilling. It's just the hand stuff. And if I do too much, it's the lung stuff. But on a bad day, I can't, go play outside with the kids or I can't walk far. So I don't need, assistance or anything. But on those days, I can't walk like from my bedroom to my door. And that's like if, say, for instance, I have a good couple of days. Like, here's a great example. The
Mm-hmm.
kids were getting out of school. I had activities every day, Thursday through Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
My rule for myself, knowing my body, is we doing one outside activity a week.
Right,
Me,
right.
I did 4 days in a row. I went hard. So for the next week, I was in the bed. And it's like that give or take. But I'm going to give my babies to their activities. So I kind of knew, I prayed that I wouldn't, but no, I ended up paying for it. And it's like I have to make sure that I am on it. I have to be drinking my water. I have to be eating enough. I have to be taking supplements and stuff because if I don't, that that breathiness to where I can't walk from the bedroom but even with that, I'm gonna make it work. I'm like the other week, I hurt my hip and it was from the way that I was sleeping. And it's been a recurring thing. I don't know if it's related to, I think it's more related to childbirth
Mm-hmm.
because I started getting it when after I had my daughter. But I got that. I ended up going to Walmart and getting me a cane, and I made it do what it do.
I know that.
Like, and it's like that is what I do. Like, no matter what the obstacle is, I've been trying to find a way because if you go on my page, you see my testimony. I almost died last year. And I was back and forth in the hospital 6 times. And before that, I had never really been in the hospital like that. I was in the hospital one time. So to be in the hospital like that, I lost My doctor, you have to see a rheumatologist if you
Uh,
have an autoimmune diagnosis.
mhm.
She always says how strong I am. I lost a lot of strength. So having to go through physical therapy and do all that to gain that muscle back has been a process
Yeah,
over this last few months. But it's like I can't just lay down. I have to fight. But I experienced not being able to fight. So that's why I feel even more blessed right now. And though I lost mobility quicker than I had the whole time I've been dealing with this because I just sat in the bed. And I was like, this is why you have to fight.
yeah,
This is why you have to get up. Because if you just lay there, if you just sit, but I couldn't. I was and I was like, dang, I just want to be able to. So now that I can, I go. But I have to measure it. Don't go too hard like this all the time.
yeah.
Sometimes you're going to need to go hard, but sometimes you have to do a little bit at a time. And that's what I've been learning to do. So that is the most um thing that's affected the lungs and the ability to not just be able to go, go, go. And you kind of need to go, go, go when you have young kids.
You're right about that. You're right. But that's what's up. The fact that, what you do, no matter what the physical obstacle is that you're going through, you don't allow your mind to succumb to that. And so, as you said, if you allow your mind to succumb to that, it's really nothing else you can do because then, if that physical weakness or ailment is going to take completely over because you've given up. So, I love the fact that you have the mind over matter. Even though you're not delusional, I can't move though. As much as I want to at this particular time, I'm just not able to do it. The difference is you don't give up and you don't stop.
And I speak to my thoughts because if you just let them thoughts sit in your head, and when you're in the hospital for a year, them thoughts will come and eat you up. So I started saying to myself just declarations. And my latest declaration is you are healthy, wealthy, and strong in Jesus' name. And it's so simple. It is so simple. And I just say that over and over. You are healthy. Your books will be bestsellers. You are healthy. Your books are bestsellers. Like I just speak life over myself. I speak life to my kids. Like they're in the room. I set an alarm to speak life into them every day at 1:30. And I just say, call their names. And I say, hey, you're amazing, and I love you so much.
That's
Or anything,
that's
anything positive.
it's
Yeah.
big. I mean, to for that, I mean, your children hearing that is so necessary. I'll tell that to anybody. That's our job to uplift them and constantly feed positive thoughts and energy into them. And that's what they're going to do in the world. Even if they sway, they're going to know that that is the foundation that was laid for them and they will be back. So that's what's up. They know that their mother is strong. I mean, you are a testament of strength.
Thank you.
That don't always mean guns. It mean appear strong is so much bigger than the physical. So, you're doing it. So, how do you deal with because as we stated, you're human. Like, what do you do when you have those moments of weakness? Like you just constantly feed yourself those positive thoughts?
I sometimes I just cry
Okay.
first. I always feel better if I have a little cry. I don't think that tears are bad, and I don't think that tears mean that you're sad. Um, that you're depressed
That's
or
right.
anything. But I also recognize when I am a little depressed. Like, oh, you kind of depressed a little bit. So whatever it is, I let that come up and come out. If I'm angry, and I talk to God about it, and sometimes I'll try to talk to a friend, call somebody, and they won't answer, and I'll be like, I need to pray, and God is like, why did you wait so long? I was right here.
You're
I'm
right.
like, oh snap, I'll be forgetting sometimes because you are always there. But and sometimes it used to feel like God wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
But as my relationship has grown, He is always enough. And He is always going to answer. I just didn't know what to say. And I wasn't coming to Him real. He wants us raw and real. So I'll be like, guys, you got me messed up. Like, no,
Right.
no, because your word says this isn't this, and
Right.
no. And when I started talking to God like that, and I don't want to say that you disrespect God, what
Uh-huh.
I'm saying is I'm thinking that anyway. So I'm His
There you go.
kid, and He already knows.
Yeah.
And I let my daughter talk to me like that. She'll be like, "Mommy, cause no, that's not even right." And they did this, and I'm like, God wants us to talk to Him like that. He wants us to be real. So that's my name, and I sing, I worship. I put on my favorite Mally music and vibe out to that. Like that is a major part.
Right.
Listening to music, listening to worship music, letting that wash over me. I try to sleep with it at night. I notice the difference when I don't sleep with it
Right.
in the peace in our night, in our day. So, and I also listen to only funny and positive things. If I'm feeling down, I'm about to go look at something funny,
Right.
even if it's some TikToks or a movie that I love. Like, I don't look at depressing things. I'm not about to look at the horror movie or even the sad drama. I
Exactly.
won't be, no thanks.
Right. No, I get it. You keep yourself covered in positivity and happiness, and you
Yes.
are, in that moment because, again, you're human, and I mean, you deal with something. I can complain, but you deal with something different that's on a daily basis. So I get it. You're going to have moments of that, and I like the fact that you said you cry. Because that's important, and that definitely is not a sign of weakness, and not only for you, I need men to know that, like, you
Yes.
right, because to me that's a sign of strength. I'm letting out my emotions and how I feel, and also being completely honest when you are speaking to God, like saying, listen here now, you know because I mean he already know what you, or she or it knows what you're thinking. So I might as well just be raw, because that's the way for me to be me. It's the only way for me to be my authentic self, is to keep it real. So I
Yes.
hope that you can do that, and allowing your children to express honestly how they feel respectfully, because it
Yes.
is respect.
I'm so glad that you mentioned boys because girls cry and it's more accepted. But someone that we love told my son, "Hey, why are you crying? You don't need to be crying like that. You're a boy."
Yeah,
And
I agree with
it
that.
went right over his head, thank God. And I
Thank
said,
God.
"Hey, you know you can cry, right? You can cry anytime you need to cry. It's not anything wrong with you crying, but let's talk about it too.
There
You
you
don't just have to cry."
there you go. There you
And he
go.
was like, "Okay." So,
You hit the
yes.
nail on the head. You can cry, but let's talk about it. Let's find out where those tears are coming from, so that we can get some understanding going on here. And so that you can guide him the right way, so that those tears can dry up. Because at least he got to release it, though, and you're not telling him you're tough. You need the boys don't. I cannot stand that. And I once was that person, but I know better now. You know better, you do better.
Yeah.
So yeah. So when you okay, so you said in the beginning that you were like 250.
The highest I ever weighed was 242.
The disease has taken your weight off you too. I know it appears that it affects your lungs the most. So where did the loss of weight come from with that?
Um, Not being able to eat as much since it's a tissue. It
Oh,
affects your tissues and stuff too. So my stomach is not as big as it used to be.
okay.
Like it feels like my stomach shrank to about half.
Oh,
So when you can eat a 6-inch sub, I
hmm.
could eat a 3-inch sub. and I'm done. And
Okay.
then it's taking me a little bit longer to digest. So I should be eating like 6 little meals, but I'm probably eating like 3 little meals. So
Okay.
I'm not eating all the calories.
Makes
So
sense.
just eating a lot less and a lot less frequently. Like, I mean, I used to shut some food down. I
Right.
used to shut the buffet down. Like, and in my heart and mind, I'm still there. But if I eat too much, I'm going to be miserable. And it's not going to work out for me. So learning to listen to my body, it wasn't working out for me then.
Right. Right.
But like now, it's like I'll actually be uncomfortable and I could get sick.
Okay.
So
Of
I'm like, no, I'm not going to continuously do that to my body.
course.
And eating, I don't like the foods that I used to love do not love me anymore.
Right.
I used to love fried chicken, fried fish,
Mm.
all the things. But if I eat that, I'll get heartburn. So I'm not willing to put my body through that. Like
Okay.
if I eat a salad and some veggies, I'm going to be fine and I can go to sleep at night. If I eat some fried fish, I'm going to be up. And that's not fun. I need all my rest.
You're right about
So,
that. I get it. And that heartburn
yeah.
is no joke. So, nobody wants no heartburn. I completely understand that. Because you've lost the weight, of course, your stomach has shrank. And so initially, like when you go back to like when you first were diagnosed with this,
Mhm.
how, you started off, eating a lot. So where did the decline come in? You know what I'm saying? As far as the eating, because you just didn't have an appetite?
No, when I was pregnant with my son is when I felt like my stomach shrank. It was like my org I he used to kick me really hard.
Really hard.
And I think that he's just like shifted some things. And ever since I was pregnant with him, I have not been able to eat as much. And they never told me why. They was like, your stomach is just smaller. Like, and I was like, no, okay. And I thought it would go back to normal. I thought it was a pregnancy thing,
Right.
but no, it just never went back. And it's like, I was my goal weight, and I got to like 150, and I loved it.
Right.
But I lost the weight, a lot of weight this last year,
Okay. Okay.
and I can gain weight, but it's a full-time job.
Okay.
And it's like I'm having to choose which thing I'm going to do. And I'm like managing overall health right
Of
now. And
course.
then when I feel like that is good enough, and when I'm stronger, I will do the weight gain thing. Like I know how to gain the weight, but I have to be on a since I'm eating. If I okay, I know how to gain the weight. I
Mhm.
could just eat some hamburgers and macaroni and cheese every day, but that's
Exactly.
not
Right.
going to help
There
my
you go.
overall health.
Absolutely.
So to gain the weight, I have to do healthy food
Yeah.
in high amounts
Right.
all throughout the day. Easy digestible things that I don't necessarily love, which I don't care because that is going to it's about making my life better.
When you had to go into the hospital this last time, what sent you to the hospital? Was it your lungs that were acting up? What actually attacked you this time with the disease?
Here's the thing. I've never been in a hospital for scleroderma.
Wow, that's good.
I've never been in the hospital for scleroderma.
Okay.
What happened was I had COVID,
Oh my God.
and they thought I was going to be so bad with
Okay.
the COVID,
Oh
because
yeah.
of the lungs.
Right.
When I say beat COVID with no meds in 3 days, I was good. I just had to quarantine for 21 days because that
Right.
was in 2020 when they were still doing all of that.
Okay.
So no, that was in 2021. Yes, I got it at the end. Like I thought I was safe, and I got it at the end of 2021.
Okay.
So while I was in there, before I went in the hospital, I did go to the hospital for 3 days. I felt like this bump in the bottom of my foot,
Okay.
and I was like, "What is that?" So once I got done with COVID, I was off of quarantine. I went to urgent care. I should have gone to the ER. And I had tried to pop this bump because it looks like it was a boil or something. And I had, had a boil before. I was like, I just have to pop it and it'll be okay.
Right.
The doctor was like, you're right. The doctor was like, I'm giving TMI. But he was like, no, you
Good.
shouldn't have done that. He was like, you should have just came to me first. He said, I'm gonna give you these antibiotics, and within 7 days you should be good.
Uh,
That was it. At this point, I could not walk. The nurse had to get a wheelchair and get me to the car. I don't know how I drove home. I don't know how I survived, but I was calling all my friends. Somebody come help me. Somebody come help me. Like I couldn't function. Like I was still on quarantine, so the kids weren't with me. And my friend was like, I'll never forget. She said, I'll take care of you. Just come to my house. She took care of me for 4 days. By that fourth day, I said, is that gangrene?
okay.
And she looked at it and she said, no, girl, look, it's okay. It's getting better. She was laying on her couch and she said the Holy Spirit woke her up and said, that is gangrene. The enemy is trying to take her foot. I got to the hospital and the enemy was trying to take my foot. The doctor said if he do not get this gangrene out my foot, I will lose my foot. And at the same, I mean, I guess you could kind of say that it wasn't scleroderma related. They said they don't know. I had been having fluid on my heart for years, but it was the size of a quarter. My body went into shock, and that fluid ended up being like ounces of fluid. And I asked my rheumatologist, I said, is this scleroderma related? She said, we don't know. We don't know why it happened. So we don't know. I believe that it was my body going into shock. And that is how I ended up going to the hospital over 6 times in 2022 because um just having complications with that. I had to have surgery on my foot. It ended up needing to be scraped to the tendon. I had to have a reconstructive surgery on it. It's still healing a year later. It's done healing, but it was so deep that it has so many layers. It's like on that last layer. And I'm walking and everything, but it's still tender.
Yeah.
And like I can get pedicures and all of that. Thank God I can get pedicures
You
now.
you gonna
But
get that pedicure?
that it was a journey. It was a journey. And I went back and forth to the hospital because when I first went to the hospital, they gave me about 4 or 5 different antibiotics. I ended up being allergic to 2 of them. And that started a chain reaction to where and that's how I lost the weight. I couldn't keep anything down. I couldn't eat anything. And this was happening week after week. And the only thing I could do was go to the hospital. If I couldn't keep nothing down, I couldn't gain weight. I was losing weight. I got down to 89 pounds. It was crazy. They had nutritionists and everything. So I kept going into the hospital. They kept giving me a plan, and I would do the plan for like a week, think like, oh, I got it, try to do my own thing, and then end up back in the hospital. And I'm like, I'm trying to do this plan that you guys are giving me, but I need help. Like I'm not trying to do my own thing, but I'm doing it as much as I can without help. And God like really orchestrated it. I got like people to come help me with the food. I got my pastor ordered meals for me so I wouldn't have to worry about the cooking while it was that too. I'm trying to nurse this foot and I need to cook and eat and do all it was a lot. So the last time I went to the hospital, it was August, and I was like, I'm not coming back here. And I say that to myself all the time. I am enough. I won't be coming back here for this.
Yeah.
And it's like, ain't been back, ain't trying to go back,
Okay.
doing all my stuff. I'm strong enough to do enough and I have help, God has given me a community of people that love me and help me. And it's like such a blessing.
And I commend all of them. I mean, because that
I'm
is
so
definitely
grateful.
necessary. I believe you are, and they are definitely commended. That's the thing. Like with autoimmune diseases, like you're going in and out of the hospital. This is occurring, that is occurring, and unfortunately, the doctors are like, we don't know.
They don't know.
It's crazy, and I know they're human too. But it's like, what do you know? Like what?
Right.
Like when I have scleroderma, so these things that I'm going through, you're telling me you don't know if they're related to that? And
Yeah.
it's just crazy with autoimmune diseases because there are a lot of question marks. And
Yes.
I can imagine how, that could possibly make you feel. So through all of that, like what is your motivation that makes you not want to give up?
I said I got to live for my babies. And my mentor, I love her. The same person who told me to get in front of the camera, her mom is like my mentor.
Okay.
And she loves me. And when my mom passed away, she sat with me all day and loved me and was with me through planning her funeral. I was 9 months pregnant, planning my mom's funeral. My mom died one Saturday and I had my baby the next Saturday.
Mm.
And she was there with me the whole time. And she told me,
Good.
she said, you have to choose yourself. Like, yeah, you living for your kids and stuff, but no. And I'm my motivation. Like me seeing me be successful, me seeing me do the things that God told me that I get to do. God, you said I get to do this. You said that I will live and not die and proclaim what the Lord has done. Okay, I will do that. Do I have some scars? Yes. But I believe in your restoration. I have been better and I have been worse than I am today. That means it can go either way. But I'm believing and speaking that it will be well, it will go well, that from here on out, I am walking in divine health. There will be healing that is physically manifestations. I'm like, I'm looking forward to all of that. But I'm also grateful for every day. I don't look ahead longingly anymore. I look ahead like, oh, that's going to be great. But today is great. Today I got to spend time with my friend and she did my hair and we got to talk and I got to see my nephew. Like today I got to do this interview and hopefully I'll encourage somebody. And I choose joy. I make everything around me choose joy. I make my kids choose joy. Like, okay, you mad, you sad about that? Let's talk about it. Then we about to choose joy.
That is
And that is what I stand on.
the perfect answer. The perfect answer. And y'all, like this is the face of strength in my
Thank
heart. Like, this the
you.
you deserve it. Like I say you're welcome because you're really welcome. I literally would not say it if I didn't mean it. Like that is what a good example, or she right here is a good example of what strength is. What made you? I know your friend made you. Oh, you did say that. So your friend is the one that made you want to get on camera and show yourself. But what was the point where you actually said, you know what, she's right? Like what happened? What was that pivotal moment that said, you know what, I'm going to share my story with the world and show my face and love me?
My marriage ended. My marriage of almost 10 years ended,
Sorry to hear.
and I was heartbroken because my babies didn't get to go up in the family that I had designed for them. I'm like, no, I don't want them to go through divorce. And I was like, when my marriage ended in divorce, you know, I was like, you're a failure, shame. And then God started ministering to me, and I ended up getting in a life coaching course. And you're not a failure. Your marriage ended, but you are an amazing wife. Like you served your family and you served your husband. Just because it didn't work out, he is, doing his thing and you're going to do your thing, but that doesn't mean that you're a failure. And you guys can co-parent well. We do. You guys can respect one another. We do. And it doesn't have to be a negative thing, like how you are. It doesn't have to be a doom and gloom thing. And it took some time, but when I was in that coaching class, I got some confidence. They poured into me. They made sure, like, when I say the shame and the, oh, well, I can't, lasted about 2 seconds. And immediately I was poured into and built up. Like, no, you're going to do everything that you thought that you could only do in a marriage because God is your source. God is equipping you. And it's like, just that I had lost so much of myself in a disease, in being a mom, in being a wife. Like, I was almost erased. That was killing me more than any disease could.
Yeah.
Losing myself. So getting on camera, she was like, okay, it's time. The life coach, it's time. And I'm like, okay. And I think it started off as an assignment. Like I had to do a video before the week was up or something. And I was like, I'm really not trying to do this. And at first I wanted to not do my face and only do words. And I think that's how I started. But then it was like, this is a hassle. I'm just gonna get on with my face because it's easier. And that's how it started. And now I'm like super comfortable, like getting on with my face because it's like, this is my face that I look at every day. This is my face that my children look at every day and they love. And I'm never going to forget how I used to look, but it no longer hurts me.
That's
It's like, this is who you are right now today. And this is who you, the world loves. People love me. And I'm very appreciative for every like, every comment. And I love myself.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Like, and
Yeah.
everything you said is makes so much sense. And another thing is that it your story goes to show how there are a lot of good people out here
Yeah.
that really do care, and so I mean I commend everybody. They got my love and respect. Everybody that has rallied around you to grab you and lift you up, I got nothing but love for all of them. So if y'all see this, I love each and every one of y'all just for making sure she's still here smiling today, because she could have gave up. She was in that moment. So I'm glad. And I love how you said for those couple of moments or seconds, you feel, oh, woe is me. And then you got right up, because that is the strength that's inside of you. Like you're
Yeah.
just built of strength. Because I mean, not everybody, really has that where it'll click on that quick. But that's an inner strength within yourself that you're just not going to quit.
But
And
I will say this. I prayed. When I knew that I was getting divorced, I said, Lord, can you guard my heart? Like I know that this is going to hurt. But
yeah,
can you guard my heart so that it doesn't destroy me? Because I saw divorce and heartbreak destroy my mother. And I said that specific prayer, and he did it. And it's like, what I want people to understand is that God uses people. People want a blessing, but then they're either afraid to ask for help, afraid to open themselves up to people, or they've been hurt, so they don't want to help people. That's three instances of where you're blocking. You have to be open and you have to give.
yes, yes. Good message. Perfect message. I mean, that is so, so true. And you have an unwavering faith that, I mean, it is, I commend you for that. Like that, I mean, your faith is very deep. And I see that that's the one thing that you've never let go of is your faith. And that's really good. I also have to tell your ex-husband, good man and you for knowing that it's not about us. The marriage didn't work, but at the end of the day, these two children matter more than we do. And it is up to us to respect one another as two adults should. The relationship didn't work. That's just life. Of course, you didn't get into it for that to happen, but it happened. And we need to show these kids that we love them. and there
Yeah.
was most important. So he deserves a pat on the back for that one. Because
Yeah.
there are a lot of men that would be gone. So I hope he's still in their life. I don't want to speak so good if
Oh
he
no,
ain't
no,
got a
no.
wife.
That was his kids too. He loved them kids.
Man, good man. Good man. We
Okay.
need more men like you out there to stick around. So that
Okay.
yes, that's what's up. So now I got one last question for you before I let you go for the evening. Enjoy the rest of your day. And that question is, will you promise to always spread peace and love in this world?
Yes, I will. I do that. I try to do that every day.
Exactly. I already know it. I feel it. That is part of the reason that I reached out to you. And I implore you to continue speaking out and being your authentic self. And you're doing such an amazing job at it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having this platform and inviting me.
You're very, very welcome.